This is the first of our sessions. Do gather round. We're going to be talking to a few different people here. My name is Mikey. Do come and take a seat if you want to. Sorry, you've kind of drawn the short straw with your plinth right in front of the... But it means you've got to listen to all of us. Throughout this Imperial Fringe, you're very welcome here, and thanks for coming. We're going to be talking to some of the key people involved in tonight's event, and there's a strong theme about innovation and development of ideas tonight, and all of the people that we're speaking to are people that are really at the cutting edge of developing ideas. But first of all, we're going to go a little bit into the past, because we're very lucky here to have Kevin Brown, who's the biographer of Sir Alexander Fleming. I mean, you obviously know a lot more about him than me, but he was at St Mary's Medical School, which is now a part of Imperial College. So it is a part of the history of this institution. But I mean, maybe you could say a little bit more about how you came to become interested in Alexander Fleming, and what led you to become this expert on Alexander Fleming.
I always said...
let me just... sorry, we got that? Yeah.
I always said I would have nothing to do...
Guys, we need a bit of... on something on mic 3 there, because we've got... Sorry about this, teething problems. So, what did you always say, Kevin?
Well, when I first came to St Mary's, which had just joined Imperial, I found I would have nothing to do with Fleming. It was controversial. There were people who wanted to do him down.
Hang on a sec, I'm going to give you more.
So there were people who wanted to do Fleming down, and there were others who wouldn't listen to any criticism. So I thought that's a tricky path to meander through. However, I got the job of setting up the Fleming Museum, built up a knowledge of Fleming, and was urged to write a biography. I said, only if I have a guaranteed publisher and a paid sabbatical. I got one of them.
Right. I mean, somebody like... Sorry, Kevin, you've kind of drawn the short straw, being the first on, But in a way, this is kind of the teething trouble that you always have when you're trying to do something new and innovative. And I guess Alexander Fleming was one of those type of people.
Well, Fleming was in at the beginning of the modern science of bacteriology.
Yeah.
He was actually working in a department where the research was meant to feed into clinical practice.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we'd call it translational medicine.
Right.
They did it 90 years ago, just didn't have a buzzword for it.
Right, okay. I mean, has innovation changed since the time of Alexander Fleming?
I think it has changed a lot.
Yeah.
Fleming was very much the lone researcher.
Yeah.
Now, that was ideal for taking advantage of a chance observation.
Right.
In his case, of a fungus that stopped the growth of bacteria.
Yeah.
But what you did find was, whilst that blue sky thinking, being in a position to follow something up just because it interested you, was ideal for taking advantage of that chance observation. If you wanted to develop penicillin, you needed teamwork, multidisciplinary teamwork.
Yeah.
Fleming, though, just had 2 young lads to help him. But his important part was to publish his findings on penicillin and to put forward the idea of penicillin as an antibiotic.
Yeah.
However, whilst he published the idea, he wasn't able to develop it.
What year was this that he published this idea?
Well, he discovered penicillin in September 1928. He published the following year. But that paper was ignored for another 12 years.
Right.
It was then taken up by a team of scientists at the University of Oxford.
Yeah.
And they developed it because they were a multidisciplinary team. Now, one of those workers at Oxford later came to Imperial, Ernst Chain,
Right.
who in 1964 became Professor of Biochemistry here.
Right. So there was a big gap, really, of 12 years between this discovery and this suggestion that penicillin could treat bacterial infections, and it was another 12 years actually before somebody actually got on to turning that into a workable.
Now, once they got onto
Yeah.
turning it into a workable proposition,
Yeah.
the whole process was accelerated by the Second World War. War was a big factor in innovation and scientific and
Yeah.
medical development.
Yeah. So, I mean, does that mean if we had a war now, things would get innovated faster, or do you think things are actually things would move faster anyway?
I think sometimes now we are tied down with a lot of the protocols involved in scientific development.
Yeah.
They didn't have them in the past.
Yeah.
They could use something like penicillin without clinical trials. It
Right,
wouldn't
okay.
happen now.
So actually,
Well,
there
actually, perhaps
Yeah.
it should. Still, it should happen. But the thing is, it was another research climate to the one of today. And that's where the difference was. So people could do things much more quickly, bring things into use more quickly.
Yeah. So certainly in the field of medicine, there's a lot more, I guess, impediments in terms of a due process that you have to follow.
Yes, clinical trials, you have to have informed consent of the patient. The first person Fleming treated with penicillin had meningitis. Penicillin wasn't working fast enough, so against all advice, Fleming gave him an intrathecal injection, injected into the spinal fluid.
Right.
Everyone said, don't do it. You could kill the man.
Yeah.
Now, luckily, the man survived. In fact, there was nothing to be lost. He was dying.
Yeah.
But think what would have happened today.
Yeah.
Fleming would have been struck off the medical register, probably sent to prison.
Right. So I guess you could get away with a lot more in
You
those
could get
days.
away with murder, literally.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything now? I mean, you're within the institution. Is there anything that you think is easier now in terms of developing new ideas?
I think in a way, with a lot of modern research, you do need a lot more complex equipment, you need more money,
Yeah.
and I think that's possibly where today has the advantage.
But I mean, what about the climate? I mean, this idea, because I think one of the themes of today is that there's a climate of innovation going on at Imperial. Do you think that makes a difference, or do you think it's just about the money and the tools?
I think certainly penicillin shows you need different stages of development. You need the blue sky thinker, you need the vision, the ideas, then you need teamwork to bring things into use, and then you need the practical people to develop it to some practical purpose.
So there's a number of different roles there then.
There's a number of different roles. Now I think today
Yeah.
there's often a monolithic approach, so we need to be looking at things perhaps more holistically.
Right.
And allowing people time just to think, to dream.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we need all the other people. And I think that's where, with a climate of innovation and an atmosphere that encourages innovation, you can go far.
Is it because everyone wants to be the Fleming character, no one wants to be like the Chain character or the other people along the line that may be doing the less glamorous side?
Well, Fleming was perhaps the nicest of the people involved.
Right.
But that aside,
Yeah.
I think Fleming gets all the attention now because there's a romance behind this chance observation.
Yeah.
although there was a lot of hard bench work and hard practical work
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas the people at Oxford, they tend to get forgotten simply because it was mainly hard bench work.
Yeah.
And it is less easy for the layman to understand.
So are we celebrating the right things in a way? Because, I mean, what you're suggesting, Kevin, is that some of that hard work, the really tough process of turning an idea into something that's industrially produced across the world, such as penicillin, it's the glamorous kind of scientist that kind of gets the credit rather than all those people along the line that had just as much work into it, if not more.
On the other hand, you have to remember that a lot of credit was given to the people who did the less glamorous side of things
Yeah.
by the people who knew, by the scientists, by the technologists.
Right.
And I think there is a romance to that hard practical work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, even for Fleming, there was a lot of routine,
Yeah.
a lot of hard bench work.
Yeah.
But what tends to get remembered are perhaps the high points.
Yeah. I mean, from what I know, it's about the story of, this kind of untidy scientist that left all of his experiments to go mouldy in the summer holidays.
Oh, it's
yeah.
a lot more than that. And the thing is, Fleming had to be prepared in order to take advantage of an observation. So it was chance that it happened. However, he had to be prepared by a lot of hard work,
Yeah.
a lot of knowledge, and in fact his earlier work and earlier discoveries made him receptive to what he saw with penicillin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's also probably another thing that we don't really know about the work that he did before penicillin. And I guess he's already a character, a famous person through what he'd done.
Well, Fleming would have been more than a footnote in the history of science even before penicillin. In the First World War, he became an expert on wound infections and showed that the use of antiseptics was doing more harm than good. In 1921, he discovered the enzyme lysozyme. Now, he always said his best work had been done on lysozyme as a scientist,
Yeah.
and that was an honest assessment.
Yeah.
But lysozyme, because it seemed to have no practical application in medicine, then led him on to penicillin, because he thought perhaps he'd discovered a much more potent enzyme
Yeah.
than lysozyme. And also that's what led the Oxford team on. When they turned to penicillin, they just finished work on Fleming's lysozyme.
Right. So they'd already.
So it all fits together.
No, this question about, because you talked a lot about the romance
Yes.
of this, and I guess it's, as Sir Alexander Fleming, one of the best-known scientists in the 20th century. I mean, what does this say about the figure of the scientist? Is it the right kind of figure to sort of sell to people? There's a lot of young people here that may be thinking about going to science. Is that the kind of heroic figure that?
I think anyone going into science needs to be aware that it's not all glamour. It's not all heroic discovery. Behind all of that, when you get it, and not everybody does, you have a lot of hard work. But that hard work can be intellectually rewarding in itself. And also, you never know, you might just hit on something.
Yeah.
And that's it, even if you don't.
Yeah.
The fact that you've investigated,
Yeah.
that you've attempted to do something, that's the important thing.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add about being here today at the Imperial Fringe, about all the other, I don't know, you've only probably just arrived, but some of the other innovations, how this fits in, I suppose, with this legacy of research?
I think it's a case of young people with exciting new ideas that they want to develop, and that there's an atmosphere which encourages them to develop themselves further. And that is the excitement of it all.
Yeah.
They are people who maybe they won't achieve a Nobel Prize like Fleming. The thing is, if they try to achieve something, whatever it is, they will achieve something.
That's great, Kevin. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go. A little bit of applause. Have we got? I don't know if anyone's actually. We might need to turn this up for the next customer because I'm not sure if anyone can hear. This is on the record, but if anyone can, if there's any questions. Any questions? It just looks like Anthony listening. Hello. But looks like there's no questions from the audience. But thanks very much. And have you got a display or an exhibition
Yes,
stand?
we've got a display of some items from the Alexander Fleming Laboratory Museum.
Yeah. And where is that in
which
the
is
display?
at St Mary's Hospital.
Okay,
so on
go
the
right.
St Mary's campus.
Right.
It's open 4 mornings a week.
Yeah.
And one perk of working for Imperial College or Imperial College Healthcare or being a student here is you get in for nothing.
That's fantastic. Thanks very much, Kevin.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.